What's up, guys? It's Robo Awesome here. Today we're talking about things that Forza Motorsport 7 got wrong. This is kind of the sequel to things that Forza Motorsport 7 got right. And there is about double the things on the list that they got wrong rather than they got right. So let's get right into it. First things first, homologation. Homologation, I personally like it, but they just went about it wrong, and it could be well improved in the next game. First things first, there are way too many cars to have a good homologation. And a lot of these cars we don't need, like aerial nomad spec. Do we really need aerial nomad spec? Who uses aerial nomad spec without being forced to? It's probably one of the worst examples of homologation ever. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. And they just need to shorten the list of different homologations, which might include shortening the car list, but that doesn't really matter, as long as we have a bunch of race cars. We don't need SUVs, trucks, unless it's an off-road game, or like these cars that no one asked for that worked in Horizon, but are not going to work in Motorsport. So this next thing is kind of a build-off of homologation, the car list. The car list is bigger than it's ever been in any other Motorsport game, but there was a problem with that, which kind of part of it was homologation. You know, their massive car list made a massive homologation list, which isn't exactly good. But also, the car list was filled with cars that we don't need, such as SUVs, buggies, giant trucks. Rally cars. Also, you don't need any of those things. Even if the game was off-road next game, we even wouldn't need SUVs or stuff. I mean, like trophy trucks, yeah, sure, that's fine. Trucks from like Baja 1000 or like Baja Bugs or something. Yeah, those are cool. Off-road buggies, I personally don't like them, so I don't think we need them, but I mean, they would still work. But SUVs, no, we don't need them. And production trucks, we don't really need those either. Same with a bunch of these production cars that we also don't need. I want them to focus on racing cars next game, and they should have focused more on racing cars this game. I mean, Motorsport's in the name, isn't it? So, I want to see more Motorsport. Next thing, this kind of builds off car list. DLC. The DLC was absolutely trash this game. It was one of the worst DLCs we've ever gotten. What was on the DLC? A bunch of SUVs and minivans and stuff no one wanted. When you bought the DLC, you bought it for about 3 cars out of like the 8 or 7 or whatever. And the other ones were cars that you couldn't even end up using in most multiplayer lobbies. They were ended up being banned. And some of them you just didn't even want to drive. Like, I mean, the Honda Odyssey was absolutely overpowered in lobbies. They had to ban that. They had to ban a bunch of other stuff. But who would want to drive that stuff? Not me. Next. This has to do with, like, the game's, kind of career mode, I guess. I really complimented the career mode last video. I mean, the things that Forza did right video. And I still think it was a great career mode. But this is just like the game in itself. The game was all about car collecting, it seemed. In the career mode, it was like, do this thing to get this car that you usually won't be able to get in the auto show. See, in the next game, you should be able to buy every single car, including Forza Edition cars, which they probably shouldn't have, to be honest, in a Motorsport game. That's a Horizon thing. You should be able to buy every single car, except DLC, of course, from the auto show or the auction house. There shouldn't be about car collecting where you have to do certain challenges or a Forza-thon or whatever. Forza-thon shouldn't belong in Motorsport either. That's also a Horizon thing. So, there shouldn't be any of that stuff. You should just be able to buy a car and not make it about car collecting. You should be able to bond with your car. It's not like, I gotta get this new car, this XTS limousine, or this 10-block Ford Fiesta, or something like that. I like those challenges in the game, in Forza, but they should make those cars able to be bought at the auto show, and you don't win them when you complete those challenges. The challenges are fun, but it shouldn't be made about car collecting. And there was a rumor about all the cars being free in the next Motorsport game. I don't think they should be free, but they should be available to everyone. No, like, you have to unlock it because you have a certain level, like this dumb car level thing that we have on this game. I absolutely hate it. And the fact that I couldn't buy a Porsche 918 Spyder when I first got on the game kind of angered me, because people want to buy their car that they want to buy. They don't want to have to unlock it in Motorsport. That's a Horizon thing. What works in Horizon probably won't work in Motorsport, so don't try out Turn 10 or Playground Games or Microsoft Studios in general. It doesn't work like that. They're completely two different games. One's arcade, one's kind of sim. I'll make a video about that later. So let's get into the next thing now. Next thing, penalties. I praised the penalty system in the prequel to this video, and I do think it is a very fair penalty system, and I've only been dealt 2 wrong penalties in my whole time playing this game. And the other ones I have all probably deserved by cutting the track or accidentally or spinning out a guy or something, or that one time where I knocked that guy off the track because he was being bad. So one thing that they should add to the penalty system is the ability to serve your penalty on the track. This would be especially good for endurance races, and it could cut down a lot on rammers, because rammers, they know that it's not going to have any actual race effect with them getting penalties, unless they get disqualified, of course. But they don't really care about that. But if you make them slow down at certain points, that could make them become back markers. And now, luckily, back markers are now ghosted in this game, which would make it great. So the ability to serve penalties on the track, like Gran Turismo Sport, their penalty serving thing is pretty good, like a few penalty zones. That would make it really nice. The next thing, more active time, I guess you could say. So they brought back time-based gaps, which has been missing forever, and they should have included it forever ago, because length-based gaps, that's not exactly good. But they should build off of the time-based gaps, because right now it's only to the 10th of a second. It should be at least to the 100th of a second, and it'd be even better if it was to the 1,000th of a second. And they should also make it a bit more colorful and a bit more easy to see, because right now it's just like super gray. They should make it clear, kind of like Gran Turismo, where you can see most people's times and stuff and how far away they are from you, like their split times. And also, building off of that, they should cut their tracks into sectors, like in real life how they do, like Sector 3, Sector 2. So you know, if you don't have the best lap, but you might be the best in, say, Sector 3, so you need to work on Sector 1 and 2, so you know where to work on, and you're not just trying to work on something that you've almost already perfected. So sectors would be good. Also showing actively who got the best lap time or best sector time. They should definitely add this in the next game, and I'm surprised they didn't add it in Motorsport 7. The next thing, tuning and upgrades. This is kind of one and the same, but they're also kind of different. They relate to each other, kind of like homologation and car list. So let's go to tuning first. Tuning needs to be more complex. We've had the same tuning system since about like Forza Motorsport 2. I think it's been around for a long time, and back in the day it was really revolutionary, but now it's just old. We need a lot more abilities for tuning. Like, the fact that you can't tune your downforce on certain cars without applying the Forza universal wing, which by most people's opinion looks absolutely hideous. I don't think it's that bad, but on some cars it does look hideous. Like the Porsche GT2 RS. You should be able to tune rear and front downforce on that car without having to apply the Forza universal front bumper and rear wing. And also, they should expand on the universal parts. They should bring back the universal rear diffuser from, I think, Motorsport 2 and 3. I don't know. It was when in the earlier games they had a rear diffuser that was universal. They should bring that back. They should diversify more universal wings. They should have at least 3, I think. Like a little lip one, a current wing, and a variation of the current wing that we have. And they should also add at least one more front splitter. And a lot of people think that the tow hook looks bad on the current one, so maybe add a version without the tow hook, but the same performance as the current one. I think a lot of people would like that, especially in the customization scene. And that's about it with tuning and upgrade. Oh yeah, they should also, we've also had the same upgrade system for a long time, so they should increase the amount of upgrades that you can do. There's a lot of things that still remain stock on a lot of cars. And another thing visually about the customizing is a lot of people want the ability to customize exhaust pipes. I personally don't see why they want this. Like, I mean, you could maybe get a bit of performance out of it, like the different types of like catbacks or whatever, like the X and Y different pipes. I don't really know much about tailpipes, to be honest, or exhaust in general. They should be able to like customize that stuff, and honestly, upgrading, it should have more options. Like, everyone knows that the one on the far right's the best. There should be another one that's also like far right, and it has almost equal performance to the one on the far right, but there's different things. Like, one might get better at speed, the other might be better at having more torque. Might be different sounds. They also really need to work on their sounds. That's another thing that Forza Motorsport 7 got wrong, but we're not going to talk about that very much in this video because you've heard it before. Now we're going to address the big elephant in the room, or small elephant. It depends on how much you remember it. When Forza Motorsport 7 was first released, it was basically unplayable. There were so many bugs, people's game kept on crashing, and this is also kind of the bonus thing that they need to work on. If you tried to paint in the game, good luck with that. It would crash every single time, and you would lose all your work. And this is the bonus right here. They also need to work on painting. You can add cover shapes. I forgot what they're called. They're in Horizon 4 though, where you press Y for decals, and it's the same color as the car, so it just blends in. They don't have that. You can't add decals that are special colors. They need to work on their painting a lot. I like to paint in this game a lot. I mean, not a lot, a little bit. So they need to work on that too, especially the mask shapes. That definitely needs to be worked on. And why don't we get some more vinyls that we can apply? I'm gonna make a whole video about this actually, so stay tuned for that later, probably coming out next week. So the bugs, horrible, crashed all the time. Forza Motorsport 7 was horrible at its release. Hopefully, since they have had an extra year to work on it, Forza Motorsport 8 will be a lot better and a lot more fun to play. So that's about all for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Click that subscribe button right there, and maybe click that like button too. Comment down below what you thought Forza Motorsport 7 did good at, or did absolutely horrible at it, like the bugs. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Goodbye.